You're ignoring it, yeah. And then what you can do is for your dog is you can get another behavior. So that person doesn't look at the dog. They stop. They stay there. You go, hey, knock it off. And then feed your dog for knocking it off, right? So like the idea is people go, well, if you feed your dog in that space, you're feeding them for barking at the person, right? But the truth is they're very unlikely. You would have a hard time rewarding barking at something there because there's a whole state of mind that goes with that. Like the dog's unsure, so they're alarm barking, and you couldn't really be stuffing food in their mouth in a way that's timely in between barks to actually reward that behavior. So if you can get them to turn away from that and take food from you, then really what's being rewarded is the shift in state of mind that happens there. So if a dog is really afraid or really worked up, they won't take food, right? Because those mental states are mutually incompatible. So if I can interrupt it enough and get the dog to turn to look at me and I can feed it and it'll start taking food, then I'm rewarding the right state of mind. The dog switched off from that mode and into food acquisition mode and has now turned its attention away from this thing that's going to. What you don't want is for that person to go like, holy crap, dude, your dog, right? That's bad, right? That's what we do in agitation to make the dog want to do that more, right? So I come up and I go like this, and the dog barks, and I go, ah, and I run. And the dog goes, ha-ha, right? Yeah. Yep. Yep. And this person just stands there. It's a puppy. They just ignore it, don't look at it, don't respond to it, don't move. You guys continue to have your conversation. The puppy relaxes. Once the puppy's totally relaxed and it's gone, then you say later, and you guys just pass each other and go on, right? If they won't eat, they're telling you they're really worked up, right? So take a toy is good, for sure. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But so anything you can do to redirect the dog out of that behavior, if it's playing with you, that's great, you know? But if the dog won't take food, that's one of those kind of first signs for you, saying like, okay, the dog really is uncomfortable in this circumstance, right? Because if you were out normally and the dog was comfortable, like all the dogs in this class, so will take food, right? We don't have any dogs in here with very low food drive, right? There are dogs out there whose food drive is exceedingly low, right? You really can't do anything much with food with them. You can starve them a little bit, and at home and in quiet environments probably have enough food drive to show them how to sit down and things like that. But you're never going to get real world benefit from food for certain dogs. But none of the dogs in this class at this point are those dogs. These guys all have good food drive. Like they've all taken food out of my hand with good energy. I mean, they're not like they're pushing, they're taking it, right? So everybody in here has decent food drive. So if your dog is in a circumstance where they won't take food, that should be kind of your thermometer for how stressed they are by that situation. And what you'll do is you'll say, my dog got to a point 10 feet away from this person where I couldn't get it to take food. But if I moved out to 20 feet, would it take food? Yes, it would. Okay, cool. There's our range that we want to be working in. So now I want to take that dog out and get 15 or 20 feet away from different things and work with my dog. And then gradually I close that distance as my dog relaxes and I can get closer. And they're going to be, of course, like what we're talking about here is the issues of living with your dog and having shit that you didn't want to have happen, right? Like, you were not planning to go meet a person, but boom, around the corner as I'm walking my dog, here comes a person. And they've got a Mastiff with them. Awesome, right? So some of that stuff's going to happen to you, and it's unfortunate. And in those circumstances, you're going to do whatever you need to do to kind of get a productive thing out of it. Get the dog. Don't let the dog continue to rehearse it. Don't drag it slowly away from it. See if we can grab the dog, pinch the dog, run this way. Come on, we're doing this. Break out a toy, whatever you can do to get the dog kind of away from that situation. And then if possible, if the other person is cooperative, you move off to a distance and work with your dog until your dog settles down and decides that thing's not a threat before you leave, if you can. If you can't, if they're on their way, then they're on their way, and that was an experience we didn't want the dog to have, but we got out of it without bloodshed. It's all good, right? So we're better off than we would have been. But whenever possible, the best thing when you see those is to work around whatever the stimulus is that's making the dog uncomfortable until the dog relaxes before you leave, if you can, without forcing the dog to directly interact. Right? So one of the things that the people tend to do is, I call it like the analogy I use is if you had a fear of heights and I stood on the edge of a cliff and said, hey, come here, take a look. And it's no big deal, I swear, it's fine. And you said, no, I'm okay. And I grabbed you by the arm and said, no, come on, it's okay, it's cool, I swear, it's fine. And tried to pull you over to the edge of the cliff to check it out, to make sure it was okay. I'm not going to make that better. I'm going to make it worse, right? You're going to be like, yeah, get off of me, right? And so the dogs are the same way. So instead of trying to force them up to directly deal with something that's making them uncomfortable, what you want to do is make them have good experiences around it, in proximity to it.